Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 283, and today we're doing battle with the Trundle timelines. And so I felt like the concurrent timelines deck was quite appropriate to bring as we embark on this new timeline of Legends of Runeterra with the changes to the patch cycles and the advent of the new tournament formats. I feel like this is a timely time to chase down this timeline. And so, if you're not familiar with the concurrent timelines deck, the idea that it has going for it is that we're going to play the concurrent timelines. This lets us play a card, or I should say play a follower, and then swap that follower to one of a different cost. And so all of the kind of comes into play effects of that initial follower are going to happen, and then we can ideally swap it into a bigger unit. And so if we want to take a peek at a card, say like Fan Club President, not particularly heavy on the stats. Nobody is excited about a 2/2 for 5 mana, but it does have this playability that when you play it, you manifest an expensive spell and set its cost cheaper. And so what the timelines will let us do is to play this poorly statted unit, get that spell, and then swap it into something that ideally has way more stats. And so we can get a 5/5 or a 6/6 while still generating this spell. The major combo that this deck will be trying to pull off in that sense is using Trundle. The same idea applies to Trundle's Ice Pillar. We get to play that 8 mana unit. Trundle can see the Ice Pillar and potentially flip. It's going to pass out the vulnerable to the opposing unit. We're going to get that 8 mana back, which is a pretty sweet deal, and then we get to turn the Ice Pillar into a bigger unit. And so ideally on these big combo-esque style turns, we'll be dropping that Ice Pillar, turning it into some kind of 8/8 overwhelm, getting all of that mana back, and then playing another expensive unit to get this big and overwhelming style board. And so we do have a lot of units that really play into this theme. Essentially every unit in our deck plays into this theme. The Vulpine Wanderer generating the stance swaps and swapping into something else. Same with Reggie, the Pharaoh's Financier, and then all the way up through the list with Revna and It That Stares. We're going to look to play that concurrent timelines early and then generate the value off of these units over and over and over again through the remainder of the game. And so this type of strategy, it does play pretty well against the mid-rangey style decks and the control decks of the format, and that kind of plays together in a couple of different ideas. And so if you want to say, hey, Bust, how do I best handle dealing with the aggro decks of the format? And let me tell you, the way to not do that is playing a do-nothing card on turn 2, like Concurrent Timelines. So right from the start, you can't accept that this deck is not going to be particularly good against aggro decks. We do have a few interactive elements in here to hopefully stem the tide from aggro between the Mystic Shots, the Beams, and the Caustic Rifts, but right from the get-go, you should understand that this deck is not looking to win against aggro. It's looking to pull down its wins against the mid-rangey decks and the control decks of the format. And so with that in mind, we are playing a few of the slower elements of the day. We are playing 2 copies of Buried in the Ice, a fantastic way to answer the Aatrox Canes of the format. And then to tie in with the Buried in Ice, we do still have the It That Stares. And so it's another kind of double synergy with the It That Stares in the way that it can get this play ability and then switch into a bigger and better 8 cost card. So there's not too many other bigger and better 8/8s, but there are quite a few 8/8 overwhelms running around, and so the It That Stares has a few nice cards to swap into. And so it's an interesting deck. We've played it before. This is what I just finished the Climb to Masters with on my secondary account, so you can do it as well. And let's go ahead and jump on in to some of these battles. So good stuff, exciting stuff. I used to hate this deck so much. it was one of these really kind of polarizing decks in terms of the field, since that if your opponent had the timelines on turn 1 or turn 2, it felt like their win rate was like 80%, and if they didn't have it, it felt like their win rate was something like 45%. And so it was very very productive in terms of generating feels bad moments, but it seems to be much nicer now that it's not running around with as much frequency. But here we're up against what should be a slower deck. It has Nora in it, and so I'm looking to just full mulligan for the concurrent timelines if we can. Now with this, it's kind of tempting here. I think I actually want to get rid of the Aloof Travelers. We're still going to be digging for a timelines, but I want to hang on to the interactive elements that we get out of the Fan Club President. This is a deck that I think tries to do some OTK kind of stuff. I mean, maybe that doesn't make complete sense, but maybe it's just the Yumi Braum combo that's hanging out in there. But I'd like to be able to react to them just a little bit if we can. So I went ahead and opened. I didn't want to deal with opponent playing something like a junk construct and then us trying to attack into it. So I went ahead and got the open attack in for that damage. Now we'll see if we can't just build up a little bit more board. Gonna pick up the Pot of Pain here. It's the biggest stat boost here. We shouldn't need things like Tough against the opposing deck. It's not going to help us survive too many combats. We don't have too many high-valued plays out here. Right, we got a mini morph out of the opposing hand, so we're like reasonably okay to just jump into combat here. Oh man, this is like the best Caustic Rift we're gonna get all day, though. Maybe we do need to go ahead and Caustic Rift before we attack. I just kind of start to see this as like, well, we can Fan Club President next turn, and if we want to be able to play the spell, we need the mana, but we can easily just switch over to Trundle. Signpost, interesting. Very heavy use of that mana. And so now that he knows that we have the AoE, do we even want to bother with the attack? He's just going to throw his units away. I think it's fine. I still want to punch in this 4 damage for the turn. Hopefully we can kind of wear him down to where he'll die to a single overwhelm unit. Seems reasonable. I mean, I also don't want to come into the next turn and try and spend that 3 mana. I'm not excited about, say, playing Reggie next turn and then the Caustic Rift as well. I really want to be dropping our higher value plays at this point. There's the timelines. Maybe we will be switching to that. It is your time, Reggie. Sorry I tried to take that away from you, bro. Wasn't very nice of me to do. Still got pretty good combats for our side of the board. I'm happy enough to make a trade. If he has a combat trick to win this, it's fine. And then if he starts filling out his board, we should have, just better units than them. So coming from these, I think it's tempting to pick the Hex Obliterator, but his units don't really matter that much. I'm just kind of envisioning this big open attack we get with Overwhelm units, and I think we can pull that off with the Wildclaw Ferocity. It seems like it has some real potential to do some booming. And now, I don't think we'll get to flip the Bitsy Lizard. Let's just take the Feral Mystic. It's going to be a bit of a struggle to hit Enlightened with this, but the game may actually dig on for that long, and so not super upset to add the Mystic to the board for a few turns. Now, anything cool for the Fan Club President? Event Horizon should be pretty strong here. It's got a good chance to just pull off a big AoE stun on his whole team. Then Ravoon, maybe? I don't think we need Mist Keepers, and then Ravoon's bigger than the Colossus.
Don't worry about the words. What matters is how you feel.
Look how big you are, Ravoon. We've gotten so used to playing you these days, just in different decks. Oh, I got our Wildclaw Ferocity. Dang. Okay. A little sad about that. I had the big hopes and the big dreams for the Wildclaw Ferocity, and it just got taken right away from us. But here, we're still doing fine. He's nowhere near coming in to kill us. We can look to add Reggie this turn, the Pharaoh's Fancier. We can add Trundle after the fact. That'll have the Ice Pillar in our hand. Then on the following turn, we can drop that big Ice Pillar and hopefully get to closing this game down. Another interesting with the Winter's Breath. I don't think we need it. Let's go with the True Shot Barrage. And then just the Acolyte has the chance to be the biggest unit. We play some generated cards here. The Augment might be relevant. This is going to be a juicy Event Horizon, isn't it? I guess he is picking up more 3 and 4 attack units now that the game has kind of progressed, but it's still got some potential. It's got the chance to boom. So here's the big combo we're talking about, right? We have this 8 mana Ice Pillar. We get to play it. All of the effects are going to come down and happen. Let's just go with the Mind Splitter. I don't think Ross's Fearsome is going to matter. So we get the mana back. Trundle gets the flip. The vulnerable thing happens. And then we get all of that 8 mana back. So now we can start casting True Shot Barrages or playing another big unit. Lots of sweet things we can do. Let's see. He's just passing. Pretty sure, like, we're going to be short of lethal on the round, but I think we still want to be playing Event Horizon, and then does the True Shot Barrage get us close as well? I think we do need to barrage, so let's do this. Let's do 3, 2, and then we'll deal 1 to face. So this is 2 units that would get in the way of our Event Horizon. We can still hook the 4/4 out of combat somewhere. And now if he starts to fill the board with more garbage, hopefully the Event Horizon will be more relevant. Rom, perfect. Just stuns his whole team. See? Very nice. Very nice stun. Says, "Uh-oh, I should have known to play around Event Horizon." Oh, it's interesting. It says that Ravoon created the card. I've never noticed that aspect. Ravoon created the Event Horizon, and then the fan club president is what reduced its cost to 2. All right, good stuff though. Always stunning the opposing team feels pretty good. Ready to bring in some sweet attacks now. Just do a standard little to big attack coming out here. We could potentially even hook in the Kindly Tavern Keeper, but I think we just want to present the damage. He's got 5 mana. He may have a Harsh Winds or something to shut down Trundle and stop the kill, but it's tough for him to still just like build up a board that's relevant. Double Pokey Stick. Okay. Gets us 1 damage short. Now, the mistake I've made before is Caustic Rift does not deal damage to the Nexus. It only hits the opposing units. And so don't read into this as being able to get a kill with the Caustic Rift. It's definitely not the way that the card works. What you got? Some more Tavern Keepers? That's fine. I mean, I'm looking at Revna. We're not going to get like a particularly good AoE. We do have a ton of mana, so we could try to say like Trundle Quake, but I think that that's just not necessary. And then we are actually going to hit Enlightened on the next turn with our 2/2. Could have picked up Zevi here. Like, Zevi would have been decent with the card draw aspect, but just going with the additional stats. No, don't take our Feral Mystic. Don't do something mean to our friend here. I mean, it is pretty realistic, like, as we look towards this next turn, being able to Ithit Stairs and just take the AoE. Like, between the Ithit Stairs and the 2 Caustic Rifts, we should be able to just blow up his board again. I think that's going to be pretty strong. So let's just pass the turn here. Look to go for that big boom next turn, right? Because I mean, it doesn't actually kill any of our units. The Feral Mystic's going to grow in size. All right. Not the way I intended for this to go, but no complaints. Usgar, you don't have you don't have Overwhelm. You're looking for the Overwhelm. Alright, starting to get the clears. Buried in ice. That's kind of lame, dude. That's kind of lame. Okay. I wonder if he's going to be capable of killing us next turn. Let's just pass and wait.
Cup of tea? Fine by me.
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and drop in one Caustic Riff. Should let us kill the Nora next turn if we need to. And I'm not sure if the opposing deck is going to play our big boy, whatever the giant dude we just played was called. But we'll see. I think we can survive it even if they do. That's annoying. Should have known we were supposed to play around that. Should have known. We did all that work for nothing. He's just coming in for 10. Like the scary point when you get to here is if you get too aggressive on these boards, then he starts getting the opportunity to play additional spells. So you have to worry a little bit if we, if he attacked and then we tried to Caustic Riff, it gives him a chance to play extra stuff. All right, well, it looks like we're at 1. Hopefully we don't die to a pokey stick here. That's so wild, though. It seems like we were just, I don't know. I guess we should have thought about Buried in the Ice or something, but it is what it is at this point. We also have to watch for this dipshit. I guess he shouldn't be surviving damage here. Do we actually need to just go ahead and Caustic Riff? It's brutal. Alright, well, let's just bring the attack, I guess. Pull this idiot way out here to the right so that if he has some kind of heal for it or whatever, it doesn't deal a point of damage to us and get the kill. Oh my gosh, we're not even going to lethal, are we? He's going to Harsh Winds and get us out of this. Oh boy. Oh boy. At least we've got the clear on board again. We've got a little bit of heal in hand with the Kindly Tavern Keeper. We've killed essentially everything on his board. Get to continue on with refueling, I guess. But either Entomb or Flash Freeze doesn't really matter which comes out of the Three Sisters. Looks like he's trying to Entomb.
Portals, up and down and all around.
Oh my gosh, he drew a pokey stick, didn't he? Oh my god.
You lost too?
Brutal. What a dumb game. I guess that's on me. I should have thought to play around Buried in the Ice or something, but that's something you run into when you hit these off-meta decks is getting a little too crazy, I guess. But I like how we approach that, right? Is the strategy you run into against the Nora deck is they have to be able to overwhelm or have to be able to rally. And so we were actively like picking up the overwhelms. Like if you want to imagine that we just had a board full of 6 infinite mind splitters, that's never going to get the kill against a Nora deck. You have to be churning in the overwhelms, and that's what we picked up for the most part. But just weren't able to get that last piece of damage in. So brutal. Okay, well, I guess we know to expect that out of the Freylord decks from now on. All right, on to the elites. We do get to pick up the concurrent timelines, which is always nice. I just worry that we're going to be a little bit too slow. I was wanting to hang on to the Thermogenic Beam as a way to potentially kill a turn 2 Battlesmith. Just try and limit how much they can pop off with their early game plays.
Just as I could.
This is like we both are out here just trying to build up these big, ridiculous boards. And we can typically do that as long as we just have a bit of time. Alright, well, we'll drop the timelines in. No early play from opponent feels pretty good. We just don't have any units to follow up with now, which is kind of a bummer. All right. Well, it could have been a worse start. I'll give it that. It could have been worse. Now we hopefully get to just play bigger units than he ever gets to play. Don't want the Shepherd's Authority. I want to make sure that we can block every turn. These cards are kind of duds, and so the Silverwing Diver, with the tough, should be able to get a few rounds of combats in. There is our thermogenic beam target. All right, doesn't feel nearly as bad now. Need to find a little bit of something to do again. It's not something you usually find yourself saying with this deck, but just the way that the cards have fallen here, a little bit short on things to do. Ugh. Okay, that's pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. And Jarvan? Wow. Okay. Well, let's at least take the Jarvan down. We can pop his barrier. Look to drop in a kindly Tavern Keeper. Give us a little bit more board stall. The Garen is going to be a problem next turn. Could look to open with a thermogenic beam onto Garen. I mean, we don't have anything else to do, so maybe that is a relevant angle here. Just go with the Thunder Fist. Oh, that was brutal. So he gets the rally. Nothing we can do about that. I wonder if he ever opens on us. Like if we take the opportunity just to add in the Urchin. Okay. We gotta have something go right. Pick up the Crusty Codger. There's a definite argument for picking up Acorn here, but I think this is fine. Got that fresh Jarvan in hand. All right, if we can make it through the next turn, which isn't unreasonable, if he wants to open attack with the Jarvan, that's not going to be enough to lethal us, and then we get to start making our expensive plays. So maybe there's something here. Do we go for the Ithit Stairs? The Ithit Stairs being able to potentially AoE away both the Sergeant and the Squire. I'm really surprised he played that card. I'm curious if that means he's just going to have another one-cost unit. Let's go with the Pillar and see if we don't get to actually follow up with the Ithit Stairs. Like, it feels like he's going to play another one-mana card. Otherwise, I'd be really surprised with him not opening. So, let's see what we can do. Killing off our one unit to kill 2 or 3 of his is a pretty good deal. Says, uh-oh. He wasn't supposed to add the bigger units to the board. Uh-oh. What you got for us, King of Demacia? You have some more Jarvan-based plays to put forth. He's the king. He should be knowing what's best. Interesting. Interesting. So I'm not as amped about the Ithid Stairs anymore. Just going to kill off our own Mind Splitter. I'm curious. I mean, the other deck does play Champion Strength, but that's not something that we have to worry about in this upcoming turn. I guess we can aloof and see what happens, see if we get rid of it at this point. He just lost Cythria, so he doesn't have one in hand. Champion Strength costs 9. So now we can Ithid Stairs if we want, now that we've protected our Mind Splitter. Ooh, and Buried in the Ice. Not a bad pickup. Not a bad pickup. What you got? Swiftwing Lancer. I think we just want to pass. We can just keep building up the board. It doesn't feel like a very good trade to send the Mind Splitter into the Lancer. Just make him have a little bit more. I don't want... The thing that's going to be like a disaster for us is if we say, okay, I'm going to attack. He trades. We lose a unit. Can't play anything else because we don't have the mana for it. And then he gets to refill out his board. That's going to be a disaster. And so... it's kind of nice to leave the Mind Splitter at home. Okay. So who do we got coming out of here? Do you want to go? You want to go Nagakaboros? I don't think so. The Demacia guy has too much going for him, giving everything tough. Because there's a lot of opportunities to protect from his smaller plays and such. Okay.
My journey continues.
Are we now the king of Demacia since we've got since we've got Eldred on board? Is that how it works? All right, Revna, who are you going to be? Summon the Empyrean. That's not quite what we're looking for. I was hoping we could get some lifesteal out of that fella, but not quite there. But round start, stun the weakest enemy should be pretty decent. Go ahead and pick up the heal. He's going to try and for Demacia now. That's okay. I think we survive it. Our units are pretty big. He does have this challenger Garen, which is looking to be a bit of a problem, but I think we might make it.
For the prince.
I'll make this quick.
All right, so this is a survivable block. We'll see if he drops. He's thinking about it. I wonder if he has a sharp sight in hand. You just need to do some not dying here. I don't think that's too big of an ask, right? Just do some not dying. Just survive the round. So now he's in a spot to where he probably has to hook the Minotaur Reckoner, right? I don't think he wants to hook Eldred out of combat. And then what I guess the weird thing to watch for with Eldred is if he finds himself in a spot to where he can hook Eldred like out to the left and kill him, then all the units to the right are going to lose tough, and our Nexus is going to lose tough as well. So be curious to see if he can't piece together a play to where typically his units wouldn't be doing much damage, but with the Mage Seeker bro around, he's got a bit of potential there. Comes in with the Garen. Okay. The sharp sight. So the Garen Garen just gets boomed. Little whoopsies on the mathematics there. Little whoopsies. We don't have to block with everybody. That's pretty tempting. if we fall to 4, how does this work out? We'll have 2 units behind and then stun the weakest. That's probably a little greedy. So if we go this way, we get to keep the Mage Seeker. He's going to lose a lot of stats next turn as well, though. We just need time. Let's be real. I'm gonna throw away the Reckoner. We have Revna in hand to draw a card. We have the Aloof in hand to draw a card. We're upgrading everything as we play it. Let's just try our best to not die. I'm interested in trying to battle in against Garen, but I think our unit's a little too strong. Okay. Time to start popping. So what do we got? Anyone interesting here? Probably the Inspired Marshal. Just the most stats and the abilities relevant. Remembrance. I thought that was like For the Fallen or whatever that thing is that completely fills out their board. That would not have been ideal. Alright, there's an Overwhelming Fishwhack. Gonna go ahead and load up the Amulet onto the Marshal. Don't want to bank up spell mana going into next turn with the Eager Apprentice. Let's see what we can do. We'll get the Vulpine Wanderer on board. I'm really interested in the Overwhelm stance, but let's lead off with the Aloof. It's the most expensive one here. And talk about the combos. Talk about the combos. Do you all see it? We get to put the Shiraza on board with all of the stats, play the Vulpine Wanderer, get the stance that generates Overwhelm, and give Shiraza Overwhelm. That's what life's all about. He's going to concede before we can do it. Oh, man. That's too bad. That's too bad. That's the deck we need to make for tomorrow, right? We need to play the Shiraza Udyr, where we put stances onto Shiraza, try to get the wins that way. All right, though, up against Rise. Interesting note against Rise is we can blow up all of his rocks, stones, Rise rocks, whatever these things are called. These are all landmarks, and so you can't It That Stares them all away if we manage to draw one. But a little worrisome. We need the timelines quick. We do actually need to kind of come out and be the aggro in this matchup, and we don't quite have the hand to let us pull that off. Be dropping aggro Tavern Keepers and aggro Tavern Cooks. You can, I guess, make anything aggro if you just call it that, right? You say, yeah, it's an aggro Tavern Keeper. He's ready to attack. There's the timelines. Okay. Not too late. We missed basically 2 units with it, but we get to start popping off now. Go with the Fix 'em Up. Gives us the strongest attacks, and then the Chump Wump has the most stats after that. All right, combat time. Aggro Tavern Keepers doing their thing. I'm curious as Riot is coming forth with the balance patch. I think the balance patch is supposed to come out in the next week or so. If there'll be any updates to Rise, any changes to Rise. He's a very dangerous card design in the sense that that ability to just add all of the burst spells into your deck is pretty strong if you even just want to play one copy of Rise for that ability. But he seems to be, of course, a little undertuned at the moment. But it's something you got to watch for in terms of adding a lot of power to Rise. Alright, so here's what our deck is not very good at. We need to be finishing this off fairly quickly. and we don't have a lot of tools in terms of getting these big aggressive units onto the board. Alright, we'll go with the Pot of Pain. That's the most aggressive choice there. Go with the Fuzzy Caretaker. Same deal. He's going to give us the most stats we can for the turn. Now, do we want to lose out on the 1 mana? I want to add another unit this round. I'd like to be getting attacks in. We'll probably have to spend our mana. I don't... Oh shit, I forget that Rise, when he flips, he gets the spell shield. So let's do this. Let's Caustic Rift just to blow the shield. We'll put the Castaway on board after. Try and chunk in for a bunch of damage. Not looking good. Not a great spot for us to be in. But he is a little short on the landmarks. He doesn't quite have enough to get the kill. All right. Well, hopefully that problem's taken care of for a little bit. It was taken care of for a hot minute. So what do we want here? I'm looking towards the Rocket Barrage just as a way to clear out the spell shield for next turn. I guess all of the cards can clear out the spell shield, but the Rocket Barrage is the kind of the best at it. And Fallen Reckoner, kind of interesting. He's not going to do that ability on summon, the can't block thing, but if he dies in combat here, then we can replay it. And he also has Overwhelm, which is fairly important. What you got for us, deck? Trundle. Kind of interesting. We can follow up with Trundle if we want. I think we need to get this can't block play in. But, like, we're never going to lethal this turn, right? I don't think we ever do. But we can take Chief Knack Attack here. That transform ability applies to everything we do with the timelines. Still not real happy about this, but... What does this actually do? On attack, activate all of your world runes. If you have 5, destroy the Nexus. So he has to, like, physically play one before he can try and lethal us next turn? Eh. But we have the mana to Entomb now, so hopefully that'll be enough. Like, we could have gone for the 3 sisters, but it was just gonna die there. Or it's not gonna die; it's gonna get stunned. We need the Entomb. Uh-oh. He's doing it. He's got all the stuff. All right, well, let's see if that's enough to get out of the turn. Oh, yes. Oh, Entreat is okay. Entreat is anybody, or it's a burst card. I was gonna say I think we might have gotten out of this with the access to Entreat, but holy shit, he doesn't play it. Okay. Maybe I'm missing something with that, but kind of strikes me as a turn that he probably wanted to to get the unit on board. Just go for the kill.
If it's a people problem, I'm your man.
What's the Rise deck supposed to do in this spot when you have the 5 equipment on board, but you need to keep the unit around. All right, well, let's keep at it.
Happy to do whatever's needed.
Not gonna lethal again this round. He's got the stun locked up in hand, so he's gonna have the second Rise come in. I took the progress day in here because I was kind of interested in seeing if we couldn't pick up the just another answer. Like, we know he has Rise in hand. Missed call, sure, but if we were going to be able to pick up like a card draw thing or just something for the next turn to try and stop this. But didn't get there, just a little bit too slow. Victory goes to Rise. We'll let you watch the animation, I guess, as much as that gets to go on. But a fairly tough matchup. I think that one basically comes down to were you able to draw the 8 cost or the Ithid Stairs to clear out all of the runes? Because we're just never going to lethal with any time quick. It's very much like playing the Nora matchup, as to where you got to kind of like figure out a way to punch in the damage. That's a deck that's not going to be allowing you to get damage in very quickly. All right, though, no timelines up to this point. Let's go ahead and start trying to cycle. I guess I can hang on to the curve. We'll just get rid of the 3 sisters at this point. Dig for the timelines. I don't suspect we're going to get a lot of good early aggression in with these units. The Viego Elise deck should have a reasonable answer to this. Now, this is one of the starts that you'll see, to where, if you notice now, we play the concurrent timelines and we had that 1 mana for the Zonite Urchin. If you have the Urchin and the timelines in hand, you can't just wait and play it all in the second turn. But without having the timelines, we didn't quite know what we were going to be searching for. And so I guess there's some argument to just hold on to it and wait, so you can see if on the next turn you pick it up. But kind of is what it is to a degree.
Hey, I've done more with less.
Sure. It's wild to me how bad all of the improvise units are these days, right? It was there was a time and place to where improvise was the best thing that you could be doing in large part. Does this work? If I was created, draw 1 and grant me 2/1. I don't think this works, but worth a shot. Right, but there was the patch to where like improvise was one of the biggest things that you could be doing, and then with the minor nerfs to the improvise mechanic, and then the Noxen unit really kind of knocked the wind out of its sails. Sure. All right, fan club president, what you got for us? These cards not particularly exciting. I mean, I guess we can use Catalyst of the Aeons to ramp just a little bit, but Summon a Clockling and Storm of Blades don't seem that spectacular.
Don't worry about the words. What matters is how you feel.
It would let us start to play our 8-cost units on the next turn. So I think that's the way that we're going to start looking at this. We'll probably just want to add in Trundle, and then we'll Catalyst the Aeons this turn, so next turn we have 8 mana. But for the current turn, I think it was probably a little fast on the Catalyst. All right. Viego ready to party, though. Haven't seen Ovigio in a while. He doesn't he doesn't hang out as much as he used to as well.
I must get out of here.
I'm fine to just take 3. Like, I don't know what kind of nastiness this deck is playing, like if they're going to have Scorched Earth or Ravenous Flocks, whatever they're going to be doing for the Noxen part of their removal suite, but this 3 damage he has right now just isn't a very big deal. So I was happy enough to just take it instead of letting his Viego activate. Alright, Dreadway sounds good. Still get to double all the damages everywhere. You play an It that stares and deal 6 to everything, right? So do we want to get any more of these units on the board? Like, there's a realistic chance we can just open kill him next turn with the Dreadway. Might be a little greedy, but let's add in 1 and see what he does. He's still got a pretty healthy amount of mana back here. Didn't hit the Overwhelm, which is a little sad, but okay. Now he's to the point to where he can't add another Viego. And if he's short of Vengeance mana, but if he had a Vengeance for the Dreadway, we would still be dealing enough damage to kill Viego. You're so small, my dude. Where's I mean, you don't have your equipment. Your arms aren't as big as they used to be. Sure. Interesting. Just getting dudes on board, I guess. All right, Aloof. I'm on board with you. You can definitely hang out. What do we get to discard here? Atrocity. Well, could have been better. Could have been worse.
Seeing plenty of killing never gets old. You can fix anything with anything.
All right, let's get an attack in. I think we just want to attack with everything that isn't the Dreadway. Like, I don't want to lose the Dreadway in this combat. Right, just throwing him in front of the Legion Deserter feels like a bit of a bummer. We should be able to just, like, you know, pretty much kill everything while still keeping our Dreadway at home.
Please, I have connections. I'll eat your eyes. You have to get me out of here. Please, I have connections.
Surprised he's not trying to take down our Overwhelm unit with the Deserter. Maybe it's too much damage coming through. I certainly didn't do any mathematics back there, but kind of interesting, leaving up the big Overwhelm. Do you all remember the Dreadway? What was his name? Captain Ladros. The Timelines Ladros deck. You used to be able to when they cost the same amount of mana, you would concurrent timelines, and then you would play the Commander Ladros, and then switch him into the Dreadway. The Ladros Strike thing would still happen because it was a play ability, and then it would double because of the Dreadway. I didn't play during those fun times. Well, I just played Expedition, but people weren't real happy about that being a mechanic. All right. Got him with the lethal, boomed him real hard at the end. GG. So we're getting fairly close to that hour mark. These games have been a bit of a grind fest. So we'll get one more game in. We'll do the 5 games. That'll get us close to an hour. Hopefully that'll tide you over. Hopefully you don't get your 8 games, but you get your full hour or bust. That's all you need, right? That's all you need. Okay, so no timelines. I'm just going to mulligan away everything. I'm not even going to hold on to the Urchin. We probably should hang on to the Urchin, right? That gives you that additional draw, that additional dig. I think it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Some math nerd would have to say whether or not it's better to keep the Urchin. I don't know. If I was going to play this in an event like Seasonals, then I think I would ask, but it's like you get the redraw with the mulligan, right? But you also get the redraw just playing the unit, and so I guess it doesn't turn out exactly the same. But the between just the pure chance of drawing it can be made up for with by having a play in the early turns here. So I'm going to discard the expensive Bro. That's just too far away from playing him. I think that a deck like Pantheon Varus will just OTK us before we can get those big combos going. Like if we're playing against Nora, then we could probably play that a little bit slower, but it's just not quite the case here. He's going to boom us real hard given the opportunity. All right, none of those cards were concurrent timelines. I'll risk it here. It's going to say if he has a momentous choice to win the combat against one of these shitty units, sure. You know, it's not a real high-valued unit we're trying to save here. I guess there is the argument that he's trying to level up his Pantheon, and we can kind of get that for free out of him, but I like kind of taking that away. Just making him protect a higher value, or having a higher value unit to protect with it. Let's see. I guess this is a Pantheon turn. We'll send in the same thing. Again, if he's got a combat trick to protect the Saga Seeker, like okay, I guess. Not doing anything super high powered here. Interesting. How far back does this set him, right? This is pretty far. Like, I don't really want to count on the Three Sisters too much. Like, the burst speed is nice to take down some of his champions, but if we're, like, solely counting on Three Sisters to stop a Pantheon, you're asking to be in a fairly bad spot if he just rolls directly into Spell Shield. Interesting. That ice to beat you, bro. Old Trundle coming on in. Alright, so he's got the free attack. Fairly scary, but, I mean, since he's already played the one combat trick, I'm going to risk the block here. That's the only card we typically have to worry about here is that 1 mana combat trick that he already played a copy of. Now I'm curious if we can't boom him with Caustic Rift. Like if he's going to count on a +1/+1 to his Pantheon, and then we get to blow him up.
I know. I am ready.
Let's see. Let's keep at it. Winter's Breath is kind of interesting, just as a way to stop one of his big attack turns. But I think we probably want the Hex Obliterator. Just a little bit of in-combat interactivity. All right, here comes. Oh, it's not the Pantheon flip turn. He's still a little bit away from that.
There is so much power in us.
Unforgiven Cold's kind of interesting. Again, it's a burst speed way to stop his stuff, and it should be kind of bursting onto Pantheon here. I think this is going to be okay. It's like I don't want to count on Hex Obliterator with the opponent able to put the cultist spell shield down. Just if we spend 6 mana, that's essentially our entire turn. Then he gets to put just a 2 mana play down and stop what we're doing. Oh shit, we did equip a unit. LOL. I completely forgot that we had an equip up to this point. None of our units are big enough to kill his units, but that's a nice little turn. You're in troll lands now, bro. So we'll have to decide on how we want to do this. You can just hook the Pantheon out of combat with the Ice Pillar and try to punch in as much damage as possible. Or do we want to send an Overwhelm, right? If we want to, say, hit him with a Trundle to try to get the extra damage in. I'm kind of leaning towards just hitting him with our... just hitting him with our quick attack unit, but we'll see. We'll see how much mana he ends up spending here and how likely it seems that he's going to be hitting us with a Forgotten Cold, whatever that thing was called. Ooh, Wildclaw Ferocity. We got the mana for this, right? We can just slam in that damage. We can Wildclaw Ferocity an Ice Pillar if we want. Okay, so he's definitely below the point he needs to be to play the Frostbites. But are we worried about this Pantheon at this point? So, say we attack with everybody. He blocks our 4/1 with Varus. He blocks. He prevents another 2 with this Dum-Dum. Then we're looking to hit for 2, 3, 4, plus a Wildclaw Ferocity.
Let's get moving. Lefty loose.
Right. Right.
Hey, stop that.
And for 11 into 8. That does it. GG. Well done. Taking down the victories without the usage of the concurrent timelines. And so, not a bad set of games. You know, we did get boomed by Rise. I feel like that Nora game was a bit of an anomaly, and we were able to take down some of these other ones. And so, again, it's a fairly reasonable deck. It has a ton of value kind of built into it and tied into it. The concurrent timelines is extremely powerful, really. It just kind of gives all of your units +2/+2 for the rest of the game, but it also like high rolls on top of that a little bit more on occasion. And so all good and well there. Again, the kind of things to look out for, the aggro decks are just going to murder you. It's pretty tough to come out and play against Opulent Foyer Katarina when you're playing I'm putting it in air quotes right now, an air quotes fair game by just playing on curve with units and you don't really have the way to interact with her. Like that stuff's just going to blow you up. But against the more mid-rangey kind of oriented decks, it's very challenging for them to overcome your mountain of removal. And so fairly interesting in that sense. The next thing I'm kind of like trying to piece together in my brain is like as there's, Riot has these new formats coming out for the daily tournament kind of things. I'm curious if there's something in there for the timelines as well. I don't remember what the formats were, but it's kind of nice to keep these deck ideas bottled up in the back of your head for when one of these strange events comes around and gives you a little bit more opportunity to potentially use the timelines. But as I said with this one, as we are approaching the end of the season here, we had reasonable success within Masters. We just had a 3-2 set of games. I used this deck to climb up to Masters. I went from like Diamond 3 or Diamond 4 the rest of the way up yesterday and finished off the Masters climb with this. And so if you're looking for a climber, looking for a way to get that icon before the end of the season, certainly a way you can potentially do it. And then if you find yourselves playing against a lot of mid-rangey style decks, so if you're playing against a lot of the Aatrox Canes of the world, Trundle can kind of come in and outvalue them along the way, and a pretty powerful choice in that sense as well. And so, not a bad set of games. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.